What's good? My name is Rich Jones and I'm the founder and CEO of Find More Balance. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about why I started this thing, so stay tuned. So I was sitting at my kitchen island on July 1st, 2020, and I'd woken up hungover, similar to the way I'd been hungover many mornings before. And I saw last night's can of malt liquor sitting there, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm tired. I'm tired of losing money. I'm tired of losing time, and perhaps most importantly, I'm tired of potentially losing years off of my life. It looked like I was winning. I'm winning awards, I'm changing jobs, but it turned out that behind the scenes, I was struggling. I was stuck in a cycle that started before I was even born. And honestly, I just wanted to break that cycle because I knew what it looked like if I didn't. Renal failure, strokes, diabetes, not showing up for the people who are most important when they need me most. And I wanted the freedom that I had talked about for so long. I had tried taking breaks from drinking before. I'd go weeks or in some cases even months, but ultimately I would end up right back where I started. So I told the world that I was doing Dry July because partially I didn't know if I was actually going to quit this time. I knew I wanted to, but like I said, I'd been in that place before. And around this same time, I started working with a day job colleague, now leadership coach, Kayvon. It feels like that combined with making that decision to quit alcohol was the beginning of the life that I wanted. The life that I didn't even know that I wanted when I really think about it. And Kayvon doesn't really know this yet, but he's the one that got me to really start thinking about balance in a way that I hadn't considered before. I had thought about it in terms of work-life balance. I had thought about it in terms of, taking care of self, but not so much about the many different aspects of life where there's career, there's family and relationships. Yes, there's nutrition and health. And then there are the things that we just want to accomplish because those things are personally important. And he really quickly helped me see that balance is not about everything being perfect and equal. You're always going to be doing a bit of a balancing act. And it was at this time in July 2020 that really started to become a thing. Eventually, I'd make a career pivot into the most meaningful day job that I've ever had. And as a 1-year celebration of alcohol sobriety, I decided to get back into training for competitive track and field. So when I say competitive, I don't mean just being out there running, jumping with nobody else around. I'm talking competing in meets the same way people compete in triathlons, marathons, and other types of competitions as an adult. And there were points in time where I had started training to get back into shape, and then I would get injured, and then I would spiral, and then I would try to get back into it, and then I would get injured until the point that the thought of getting started felt more painful than actually getting injured itself. In August of 2021, I got to a place where I started having panic attacks, and basic tasks at work became really difficult. And so in September of 2021, I made the decision to take a 3-month mental health leave from work. And the things that I learned when I was out, most importantly, that I had complex PTSD for most of my life and didn't even know it. And there were things that were particular about my day job that triggered that I didn't realize because I didn't know that I had this condition for most of my life. And so taking that mental health leave really became the beginning of a healing journey. So I'm out on leave and I'm figuring out how to live with this CPTSD thing. I was working with Andrew, my strength and conditioning coach / performance consultant, who initially had started helping me out for lower back pain a year prior. That I start working with Grace, my long jump and triple jump coach. And I won't go into too much about her background, but let's just say I couldn't have found a better coach. And so it's November 2021. I'm in this part of my leave where I'm really feeling good about things. And for years, I've been talking about leaving corporate America, but part of what I learned during this leave is that it wasn't actually about my day job. It was about the underlying work that I hadn't done on myself. And so a few days before I was scheduled to go back to work, I had a doctor's appointment on site at my day job. And I was really struggling at this point with, should I go back? Should I not go back? Is that the right decision? And then after I leave the doctor's appointment, I realized there's a gym upstairs in the same building. And I realized that this gym has every possible thing that I could need for my long jump training. And then on the way out of the building, I stop in the cafeteria for a healthy breakfast. And then I go, wait a minute. This job is providing me everything that I need to hit a major life goal. The job is actually helping me achieve freedom. And that was the moment where I realized it wasn't time to leave, and that point may come one day, but I realized that I could leverage the job to create more balance in my life. And so while I didn't quit my job, I don't see it as an obstacle standing in front of me or the reason that I was feeling the way that I felt. But there was one conversation that I needed to have with my manager, and that was around creating boundaries. It's probably one of the most helpful things that I learned from the time off is that I hadn't done a good job of creating boundaries in the past. Boundaries with myself, boundaries with coworkers, boundaries with significant others, boundaries with friends. And that created a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of that I probably could have avoided had I made different decisions, but hindsight is always 20/20, right? So anyway, I ended up sharing some of my boundaries with my manager around how I wanted to work to ensure that I could maintain my mental and emotional health. I also told her about some of the projects that I was excited to work on, the things that I was interested in. And it's been crazy since I've gone back, where I went from how I was feeling in August before I went out to being at a place where I feel like I'm truly thriving, blessed, and lucky. And I say lucky last because yes, there's an element of luck, but I've also been doing a lot of work, and we got to give ourselves credit when we're willing to put in the work. And so right now I feel like I'm stronger than I've ever been, literally and figuratively, both on and off the track, and that brings me to you. I'm here to share what I've learned and what I continue to learn along this holistic wellness journey. If you're like me, you're a high performer or you're striving to be a high performer, and I know that that's not just about one thing. I know that's about brain health, which also includes your mental and emotional health. I know that's about rest, sleep, regeneration, things that I'm getting a much bigger appreciation for since becoming an athlete again. I also know it's about the relationships and interaction that you have in your life. And I also know that it's about having fun and not putting yourself on diets and in situations where the restrictions are so strong that they set you up to fall right back into old habits again. So if you want to see how I strive for holistic wellness and high performance, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and also be sure to visit findmorebalance.com for a wealth of resources to help you along in your own journey. Until next time, do something dope.